even a piece of bread. I would love just something. And so we said, we love you guys. We can't allow that to happen. So we took what we had and started making bag lunches, and pretty soon realized that wasn't sustainable long term, and we needed to help the whole family because some of the families got shut there. They lost their jobs, and so we started making these family boxes, and we would deliver them. Well, my daughter and I were going out and spending sometimes as much as 5 to 7 hours every day trying to buy food because you couldn't buy only so much. And so we had to buy from 16 different stores. Um, and then we found that there are 12 other missions that had people that they were ministering to. And they came to us and said, well, how can we do this? And we said, we'll tell you what, we don't know how, but we believe God is big enough, and we will, if you give us their names, you can come by and pick up boxes for them. Well, the Atlanta Food Bank found out about it, and they started delivering. And the building that we had bought that we couldn't get permits to renovate was perfect for getting the food, packing it up. So every Tuesday morning, we have somewhere between 10 and 17,000 pounds of food delivered from the Atlanta Food Bank, sometimes with two big trucks. And then we have an additional about 2,000 pounds come from a local farm. And then we collect or buy another 2,000, and we put them in boxes, and we deliver to 398 families, over 2,500 people. And it's at their house by 5 o'clock that night. And so we kind of have this vision that we see ministry almost as an hourglass. So the top of an hourglass is kind of a funnel. And so that's where we put in God, we show people God's love. And what we want to come out the bottom is not a disciple, but what we want to come out the bottom is actually relationship, but relationship that can lead to evangelism, that can lead to discipleship. And so once that happens, then what comes out the bottom funnel, because it begins to explode, are people of peace, that what we call our house church. That's how we start house churches. And so and that's where eventually we'll have missionaries and ministries come out the bottom. And so during COVID, as strange as it sounds, we planted 5 house churches.
It's awesome.
And we have seen a number of people come to Christ, and they're from resistant people groups. In fact, we have an Afghan family, a Syrian family, an Iraqi family come to Christ in the last, literally in the last 6 weeks. And I wanted to share a little bit about the Iraqi family. It turns out that we were delivering to the wrong apartment. We had the wrong apartment number. And so we started delivering food, and we realized that they really needed it. So we just kept delivering it. Well, one day the father comes out and says, listen, I have seen what Islam has done and its destruction, and I see what you're doing, and I don't want any more of that. I want what you have. And so I would like to become a follower of Jesus Christ. And the missionary delivering said, what do you know what that means? And he says, no, but I just know that I want to be part of following Jesus. So he said, well, can you come back? So we came back, and with some of our people, just to help him understand, and so that we could pray with his family. And we found out that he had been a translator with the U.S. Special Forces, and had literally, he was one of the few that was allowed to carry a weapon. And he literally got hit by an IED and had become disabled. And so we said, well, our God not only saves us for the future, we believe our God heals. Can we pray for you? And we prayed for him, and he stood up and walked.
Amazing, man.
And
That's awesome.
and him and his family um, accepted Christ that day.
Awesome.
And he is going to help us start a house church now out of his apartment. And so um, we didn't help people to lead them to Christ. We help people because the love of Christ in us wouldn't allow us to do anything else. But when people see God's love can knock down obstacles and can just open doors. And so we're going to continue just to love people for who they are and try to build relationships with them, and then allow the Holy Spirit to work in their lives. And we're convinced that we're going to see a huge harvest. And we're up to now 19 house churches. And we also have started a youth group, and we're having about 60 kids come to that. And God is just on the move. I think I shared with you in the video. I don't know if I shared in the video or not, but one of the craziest things that happened was the mosque came and asked us to help them.
Yeah,
because they said,
awesome.
Did I share that the last time?
Yeah, in one of the videos, but that's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So God's just really even our hardest people. And we had the city council say the people that got elected ran on a platform to eliminate all missions and all churches from Clarkston. Well, those same people, I met one of them, and she said, I exist to support. I am in politics because I'm going to represent Envision Atlanta. And I'm going, what? You just said you wanted to destroy us, and now you're saying that you want to fight for us. And that's the difference that God's love can make. And so I wanted to share that. And I also want to share with you, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we are signing on our camel dairy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it has been a journey. This is actually the fourth farm that we have had a contract on, and had to break the contract or had the contract broken because of zoning issues. And the last one, I was pretty upset about. I was pretty upset with God. And so I literally was angry with him. I said, God, I'm trying to do this, and you keep. And in fact, it was embarrassing for me because I thought we had this farm, and so I literally went and preached a message from the farm that said, God will fight for us. And I literally got done the message, and I got a phone call saying that we had lost the farm. And so anyways, I went back to my house, and I was angry. And I walked in, and my son said, Dad, why did you quit praying? And I said, Sam, I didn't quit praying. And he said, well, when you were first starting Envision Atlanta, every time we had an obstacle, when you went to preach, before you would preach, you would have everybody stop and pray. And he said, and every time God broke the obstacle. So why aren't you having people pray before you preach? And I said, I don't know. And so that next Sunday, I stood up and said, before I preach, I'm going to ask you to pray. And so everybody prayed. I preached, I got done. An hour later, we got a listing. It was cheaper than the original farm. It was 50% bigger. The buildings were all in better shape, and it was closer to Clarkston. It literally in every category was better than anything else we had ever seen. And so with so that's the farm we're getting. But it happened when God's people prayed, and we've had a lot of obstacles. And the crazy thing about it is, we are actually paying cash. Like God during COVID rose people up, and we're going to pay cash for a 60-acre farm that's 15 minutes from downtown Atlanta.
That's amazing. That's
So
awesome.
God is just blowing our minds. So tomorrow's going to be a huge victory. And Satan's tried everything. I mean, we had a donor back out at the last minute, and they're back on. We had this morning, I had them call and say, my insurance company called and said, we're not going to insure you. We decided we can't insure you. And I said, and so you can't sign. So my wife sent out a letter. Some of you guys probably got the letter and prayed.
Yep.
Well, guess what? The company called us back and said, we will insure you. And now they call us back. Two more companies are ready to insure us.
That's awesome. Hey, do you have a few more minutes?
Yo, yeah.
All right, let me just pause you. I'm going to dismiss our kids out, but our adults are going to stay in, and we'll keep talking. So kids, you guys can head to your classrooms. Youth, head to small groups. And adults, we're going to keep on going. While they're leaving, are you driving?
No.
No. It looks like
I am in my car, though.
Well, I'm going to ask you what kind of car that is, because I've been watching SWAT a lot, and it looks like it's one of those vehicles, like the behind your head there. It looks like the SWAT part of the car. So what kind of car is that?
Well, this is another one of God's gifts. I'll show you. I've been hauling stuff so much, and I started to pray God would do something. And somebody called me up and said, we want to give you personally a Ford cargo van. And I can stand up in the back of this.
Wow, dude, that's sweet.
And it can take 2 tons. And I don't think I've driven it empty since I got it. I've needed it to pick up food or couches, or construction equipment, or so God's just really answered that. So yeah, that's pretty observant.
Okay, I'll take that answer. I was really hoping you had SWAT guys back there when you turn the light on, but
I don't need SWAT. I got God.
I know. You kill donkeys and do everything else. I know. So what can we be praying for? What are some things we can be praying for? Obviously tomorrow, that whole situation, but what else, whether family wise, ministry wise, what can we be praying for?
So I have 2 other huge, let me give you 2 more ministry and 2 family, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
The 12th, we are going to carol in, I think, 8 different apartment complexes, and we're going to knock on doors and give presents to the kids.
Sweet.
So, and
you already have the presents, or is that praying for? You still need some?
Yeah, that's praying for. We don't have all the presents, but there's lots of time. So God supplied so many things. We're convinced it'll be okay.
I hear you.
We're also giving a card, and the card has one of those funny symbols in it that you put your phone on it.
Yeah.
And it takes you to a website that has the Jesus film and every language that is there in Clarkston. So,
which is how many again?
180.
Wow. Okay.
Including 96 unreached. So that's the 12th. If you could pray that God supplies everything we need, and then that day that He'll just pour out His Spirit. And then the other big thing is God has been doing something, and I talked about helping these other missions. Well, we've had 3 missions that have said, we love what you're doing. We want to be a part. We don't want to work apart from you. Would it be possible to join you? And of course I said yes. So we have Frontier Missionaries, we have YWAM missionaries, and Operation Mobilization that are helping us plan our churches. And Operation Mobilization is basically giving us their interns. And I think they're giving us all their interns right now. And so we needed housing. So I started to renovate my house without really understanding that once we got into it, it was a 1930s house, that it would require major renovations. So anyway, make a long story short, I need help. We have this house tore apart, and we have 6 people coming to live there in January 11th. And I got to get this house back together. In fact, if any of y'all want to come down and do a little project, we would have you. So, anyways,
I'll send my pictures of my resume of what I've done.
okay.
We got some handy guys. We'll put out the prayer request and send that out. Now, you mentioned some of those missionaries that are, or missions group that are joining you. Are they some? I know you've shared with us at one point how people saw when you came in, you were doing something different, and there had been like 20 or plus more missions groups that have come in and tried to minister that hadn't been able to. Are some of those the ones that are joining you now?
Most of them had a beachhead already,
Okay.
and so they're partnering more deeply because of food. In fact, a couple of places we're actually planning house churches together. But I'm talking; these are actually new missions.
Oh, good.
Who have heard about the situation, and they're coming in completely under us.
Awesome.
In fact, the director Operation Mobilization is about 3 times bigger than the Alliance. Wow. As far as missions is concerned. And the director asked if I could give him a tour. So the international director is flying in from Europe to come and tour Clarkston with me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So it's literally insane. So
yeah, that's sweet.
And then personally, we don't have a tremendous amount of money. God always supplies. But my son made the top soccer team in America and Georgia. And in fact, he's got 4 guys on his team that were called up for the U.S. national team. And his goalie is the national Haitian national goalie. But we kind of, with COVID, he hasn't been able to get seen. And so there haven't been huge offers. He had even teams talking to him as a freshman, D1 schools, but nobody's been talking to him since COVID. And we have fear that the country could possibly get shut down during his soccer season at school next year. And so this weekend, he is playing for the state championship of all the clubs. And God's just really blessed him. Actually, last night they had the practice. After they came to our house and actually watched the game and went through it. And the coach actually called him out and said, "I'm expecting you to be the leader." And so he gets down on his knees before every game and prays. But to be honest, we kind of need these wins, because that will be something on his resume that will allow him. He's a junior, and so we're running out of time to be able to get a decent scholarship. And so if you could just pray that God helps them and even gives them favor. The scouts that have been there actually have been more pro scouts. And we kind of wanted to go to college first. And which will make it much harder to be able to go pro afterwards, because they're actually European scouts. So it's just very complicated. But what's wild is he's the only white boy on the team, because most of the kids are from Clarkston.
Gotcha.
And so we actually have to pick them up to take them to games. They come and sleep at our house every weekend, and Alice feeds them. In fact, this last Sunday, they were late. They came with someone else because it was just one game. And Alice said, "Why were you guys late?" And she goes, because you didn't make me breakfast. So God's really using that. But if you could just pray that we do well this weekend, and really it'd be great if we could win. They've dominated so far, but anything can happen. So we're just asking God to do a tremendous miracle. And secondly, if you would just pray, my daughter, it's kind of a praise. I'm going to brag a little bit. My daughter has some hard learning disabilities, but she's got more grit than I do. And she has a 4.0 in college.
That's awesome.
So we're very, very proud of her. But her passion is she's been, because they're your missionary kids. So that's why I'm telling you that.
Yeah.
You guys have taken them on.
Oh, yeah.
But her passion is she's been mentoring some middle school refugee girls. And so I want to pray that she can get her license, because she'll be able to have more freedom to go help them then.
Okay. Awesome.
I talked a lot.
Dude, nah, it's all right, man. We planned.
I haven't seen you in a while, so.
Yeah, no, that's good. So anything else pop in your head, or you have anything else, Pastor Rick, that you wanted to ask? Oh, he thought you were in an airplane, but that looked like you'd be down below with where you're sitting. Oh, back of the airplane. All right.
Yeah, I only get put in dog cages to ride in planes every once in a while when there's
All right,
not enough money.
Maybe quick before we let you go. You said you're up to 19 home churches at the moment.
House churches, yep.
House churches, and what about what's the plus minus on each, or what's the range of how many people attend each one?
Some of them are pretty small. Some of them are only 5 people. We're just in the beginning stages, and so I'd say 5 to 15.
Okay, sweet. And that's still going, the places that still let you do that let you start doing that, basically?
Well, they're basically people that are in a bubble, and so we haven't even tried to reach out with a lot of them right now. We've tried to keep people in their bubble.
Gotcha.
We're a lot less strict than y'all. And by the way, we're the only green state in the United States right now.
Yeah. We're doing what we're doing. But we just had our first snow, so we're enjoying it. Some people.
We had our first snow actually this week.
That'll shut you guys down for a week. Not COVID. Snow will.
Well, it snowed. It didn't stick or anything, but.
All right, man.
But yeah.
Oh, does anybody else that's here have any questions? One person asks, what do you do for your beard? It looks very nice.
I use conditioner.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You straighten it, see what it looks like.
Yeah, it's if I don't keep it soft, my wife will beat me. So, and I'm scared of her. I can't
get past like 4 days and my wife starts beating me, but she's not. But all right, any other questions? All right, no, I think we have all the questions, so we're gonna be praying for you guys, and I know a bunch of us get your emails or also follow you or Envision on Facebook there. So we're just excited to see what's going on, and hopefully getting some people down there helping with whether it's construction or something else.
It's so good talking to you guys. We appreciate your constant support, and I just pray that God gives you and blesses you with a great Christmas, and that this time would be special, and that the world would not affect your joy, but you would affect the world with joy.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much. All right, man. Have a good one. We'll see you later.
Okay. Good talking to you.
All right, man. Bye.
Okay. Bye.